This session focuses on the basic elements of contemporary drumming, the rudiments. The rudiments are the foundation upon which drummers can build sticking coordination, chops, touch and sensitivity, and a vocabulary which is essential in speaking the language of drumming. The rudiments which we will review in this session were based on the standard 26 rudiments developed by the National Association of Rudimental Drummers and expanded upon by the Percussive Arts Society International Drum Rudiment Committee. I will divide the rudiments into 4 large groups and then demonstrate each rudiment within each family. Before we get into the actual performance of each rudiment, we must first talk about the historical aspect of how the rudiments developed into what we have today, and the drum that was once this and is now this. This is a marching snare drum or rudimental snare drum. During the Revolutionary War, the drum was held together with ropes connected to 2 calfskin heads. And early drummers developed specific drumming patterns for specific military functions, such as the roll call, the battle call, etc. These were eventually passed down from generation to generation, shaped and written out and modified to what we have today. Here's what a typical military snare drum march would sound like. These are the 4 groups into which all the rudiments are categorized. The roll rudiments, the diddle rudiments, the flam rudiments, and the drag rudiments. The single-stroke roll is performed hand-to-hand with constant motion and fluidity. The open roll utilizes 2 bounces per 1 stroke with an even pulse. The multiple bounce or buzz roll is accomplished by pressing the stick into the head and letting each stroke bounce more than 2 times. try to attain a continuous sound from hand to hand. The 5-stroke roll is the same as the open roll, except it is stopped after the 5th note. Also, the 7, 9, 11, and 13-stroke rolls are constructed in a similar fashion. The 6-stroke roll is a little different because it begins with a tap, has 2 beats from hand to hand, and ends with a tap. The single stroke 4 is interpreted as a triplet with a tap release. The single stroke 7 is interpreted as 2 triplets with a tap release. Here's an example how the roll rudiments can be combined to form a musical passage. The diddle rudiments are so named because of the way they sound when they're played. These rudiments are any sticking combination which utilizes a double stroke from one hand to the other. The single paradiddle is the most common and most used of the diddle rudiments. It allows smooth transitions from one hand to the other. The double paradiddle is sticked as it's pronounced. triple paradiddle adds another set of notes. All of these diddle rudiments are alternated from hand to hand. The paradiddle diddle utilizes two diddles played back to back, which brings you back to the same hand you started with, and this rudiment does not alternate. Here is how some diddle rudiments can be combined to form a musical passage. The flam is a rudiment which utilizes two notes played almost simultaneously to create one fat sound. One note is called the grace note, and that leads into the primary note. The grace note is much lighter in its performance and is dropped in just before the primary stroke. Note that after performing the primary stroke, the hand must stay down in order to perform the grace note, which occurs on the next hand. The flam tap, as the name describes, is a tap played on the same hand after the flam, and these are then run together. The flam accent is phrased as triplets. It utilizes two alternating taps after the flam. phrased as a triplet. The Petrillo is a French rudiment which utilizes the double flam technique. The Swiss Army triplet was developed in Switzerland, and it utilizes a double bounce after the flam on the same hand. There are more advanced flam rudiments which we will look at later on in this tape. Here is a way in which some flam rudiments may be used in a musical passage. Similar to the flam, the drag utilizes grace notes. However, it uses 2 grace notes, or a double bounce, instead of 1. And these notes happen just before the primary stroke and are really great for tying phrases together. Notice with the single drag that the double bounce is dropped in just before the primary stroke. With a single drag tap, as the name implies, a single drag is followed by a single tap. It may also begin with a tap, and it would sound like this. The single Rudiment is usually phrased open and with a triplet flow. It incorporates a single drag and a triplet and alternate sticking. This is another rudiment which is named by the way it sounds. The drag paradiddle number 1 incorporates a single drag tap and a single paradiddle. The drag paradiddle number 2 simply adds another drag to the first one, then adds the single paradiddle. The dragadiddle utilizes paradiddle sticking, but simply places an open 30-second note diddle on each beginning tap. Here's how the drags can be combined musically to form a phrase. I've demonstrated the basic rudiments in each of the 4 families, which are important to attack first. Now I'll demonstrate some other rudiments within these families, which are more advanced and challenging. Once you've mastered the majority of the basic rudiments, these create an enjoyable challenge. The most difficult of these being the various flam combinations. The flamicue accents the second 16th note within the passage. The flam paradiddle, as it is pronounced, places a flam at the beginning of a paradiddle. The flammed mill stroke alternates, with the flam and diddle happening on the first 2 16th notes. The coup anglais, or inverted flam tap, is a French twist of sorts, which simply inverts the flam tap and puts the tap on the opposite hand of the flam. Flam drags combine a flam, a drag, and a tap, combined as 16th notes. They can also alternate hands by means of a syncopated pattern like this. The three-stroke roll utilizes 3 strokes on each hand. To summarize what we've covered, we've touched upon the basic rudiments which make up the Percussive Arts Society International Drum Rudiments. There are 7 essential rudiments which should be developed first because they are the basic sticking combinations upon which all the other rudiments are built. And they are the single stroke roll, the multiple bounce roll, the double stroke roll, the 5-stroke roll, the single paradiddle, the flam, and the drag. Once you've mastered these rudiments, be sure to practice them at various tempos and dynamic levels.